Welcome to the search demonstration on the Maelstrom research website. We will first go to the search page, which allows to find studies and variables of interest to answer different research questions. We will go through an example of a search to illustrate all the functionalities that are available. Let's say you are interested in studying the impact of physical activity on cognitive decline. For physical activity, you do not have a specific questionnaire in mind, but for the measure of cognitive functioning, you are particularly interested in the mini mental state exam. You also want to adjust for education and the presence of cardiovascular diseases. And finally, you only want to consider cohort studies in the IALSA network. In the search page here, you will enter some criteria. First, to select a specific network, you have to go to the network properties. 13 networks are documented on the Maelstrom website, each one of them having their specific research interest. For this demonstration, we are interested with studies being part of the IALSA network, so I select IALSA. Note that the counts at the top of the selection menu are automatically updated following each new selection. Then, according to our example, you want to obtain only cohort studies. To do so, you use the Study Properties tab. As you can see, many selection criteria for studies are available. You could select studies based on their start year, the countries included, or the maximum or minimum age of the participants at the time of recruitment. Those are a few examples, but many other criteria are available as well. In this case, to select cohorts, you go to the Study Design section and click on cohort. Now if we go back to the research interest given in the example, we have to select specific topics covered by the study. To identify studies that have collected information about physical activity, education, and cardiovascular diseases, we go to the areas of information. In this selection menu, you get all the domains and subdomains of the Maelstrom classification, under which all variables documented on the website are classified. For example, if you look at the non-pharmacological intervention domain, you can see all its related subdomains, like surgical intervention, radiological interventions, and so on. You can select one subdomain at a time by using the checkbox, or select all of them by using the Select All option. If we go back to the example, for physical activity, you would look to the lifestyle and behavior domain and select the physical activity subdomain. You do the same for education, going to the socio-demographic and economic characteristic domain and selecting education. Then for cardiovascular diseases, you go to the diseases domain and select circulatory system. The classification of diseases is based on the ICD-10. You can find the mini mental state exam variables by selecting the cognitive functioning here in the areas of information, but the selection would be very broad and include many variables not specifically related to the MMSE. Since you know exactly which scale you are interested in, to add the mini mental state exam to the list of criteria, you go to the Scales Measure tab. Scales are identified for some of the subdomains of the areas of information, but not all of them, and are organized according to those subdomains, like tobacco use, alcohol use, etc. You can go through the list of documented scales, or you can use the filter to help you find the appropriate one. Here I will type mini mental, and it will reduce the list of suggested scale, which makes it easier to select the desired one. Now that the selections are all done, let's look at the results. To close the selection menu, click on Display Results. At the top of the page, you can see all the selections that you have made. As results, you first obtain 3 different lists, one for networks, one for studies, and one for variables. In the network list, you only get one since the IALSA network was previously selected. In the study list, 55 studies are identified as being cohorts and providing information about at least one of the selected criteria. The table presents some of the study information, like the study design, the data sources available, and the number of participants. In the variable list, all variables about physical activity, education, cardiovascular diseases, or the mini mental state exam are listed. You can download a CSV of your search results by clicking here on Download. This option is available on many of the search pages, and the obtained CSV will be an exact replica of the table displayed on the current page. The Summary Statistics page presents different types of distribution, by country of residence, by study design, here we selected only cohorts, by number of participants, and by type of biological samples collected. One feature particularly interesting is the comparison table. It is mainly used to evaluate the harmonization potential between studies by allowing the comparison of the information collected by each one. In this table, you get the number of variables in each of the selected subdomain, listed here at the top, for each of the study, their acronym being listed in the first column. If we take the study ACT as an example, we can see that it has 6 variables about education, 8 variables about physical activity, 71 variables about cardiovascular diseases, and none for the mini mental state exam. Those numbers represent the total of variables classified in the subdomain for all of the waves of collection combined. To identify studies that could be used to answer your research question, it might be interesting to know which ones collected information about all the requested domains, which is possible by clicking here on Full Coverage. The only studies remaining in the table are the ones that have collected information for every single criteria in the search. Then it might be important to know the time point or when the data was collected. By checking this population data collection event box, it is then going to show a table that is detailing the study, the population, but also the time point of when the information was collected. For example, the CFAS study has 3 subpopulations, CFAS-1, CFAS-2, and CFAS-Wales. If we look at the CFAS-1 subpopulation, we can see that it has collected some of the information of interest at baseline, year 1 follow-up, year 2 follow-up, and so on. As in the previous table, the number of variables about each topic is indicated in the following columns. If you want to dig deeper and are interested in knowing what are those 31 variables in the cardiovascular diseases subdomain for the CFAS-1 subpopulation at baseline, you select the number. And you will get a list of those exact 31 variables with their name, label, and the datasets in which they are included. Then, if you are interested in knowing more about one of those variables, you select it, and you will get a page displaying the variable details. The information available includes variable properties like the label, the value type, the response option for categorical variables, and some information about the variable classification. At any point, if you click on the study acronym, you will be redirected to the complete study description page. The study description includes information about many aspects of the study. First, at the top, we have the study aims. Then you have information about the list of investigators, the general study design, information about access to data and biosamples, and the study marker paper. The timeline is created using the information on subpopulations and data collection events. Each color represents a subpopulation, and each line is a data collection event. Further down, you get more detailed information about each of the subpopulations, CFAS-1, CFAS-2, CFAS-Wales, including sources of recruitment, some selection criteria like age and country of residence, and the number of participants. You can also get a description of the information collected during each wave of data collection. Here we are looking at baseline. That example covered most of the different search features, but there is one last way to search that I would like to show you. So I'll go back to the search page and perform a new search without any of the previous selections. If you go to the variable properties, you get the option to search words in the variable label. Here I will enter stroke. And obtain a list of variables mentioning stroke in their label. We have now reached the end of this tutorial. Thanks for watching.